Great good morning, everyone. It is 9:09 a.m. on my Cordaro Jewelers watch this beautiful Friday, June 5, year of our Lord 2026. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, broadcasting today from the United States of America, the greatest country ever. It's also the place where the brave, like the veterans we will salute today, thanks to John Basiliga and his great Basiliga hospitality group. We lost them this year, but pay tribute today as they deserve. Vincent Stuccio, Laughlin, Dr. Vincent Stuccio. Robert Polish, Polichico, Troop. Robert Zablicki, Duryea. Eugene Skordinsky, Newport Township. John Brasky, Hazel Township. And David Michael of Salem Township, Berwick. The United States of America. Founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our amazing, irreplaceable, and profoundly wise founding fathers who knew that government should not be. And they tried everything they could to make sure it could not be and never would be. Our parent, our guide, our direction, our salvation. Not any of these things. Because power is always abused. They knew it. The United States of America, the country where for the first time in human history, freedom was declared by law, by Constitution, to be an unalienable right, meaning they can't take it away. And it's granted to each individual by God. It cannot be parceled out to groups. It cannot be controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press, no matter how they abuse it. Now, because they were armed with these freedoms, and only because of that fact, a mere ragtag bunch of immigrants, many of them rejects from around the world, they and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose. Unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed. Unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show will always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so, we gavel to order today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our total, immersive, immovable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all who hearken here for the balance of this singular, extraordinary morning. Well, guys, we got a good show for you today. I love when Rick Bigelow's on. Tomorrow is the 82nd anniversary of D-Day. So we're going to have a detailed discussion on D-Day today with Rick and so much more, obviously. That was good talking to Senator McCormick yesterday. I really love him. And a lot of people, well, Dina, his wife Dina, she was with AI. I don't think that's the case anymore, but I'll find out. I'll ask. And I don't remember that was not behind his push. We all remember the Energy Summit, if you were following. And just a note, by the way, I'm not getting your texts at the moment. Okay, we're going to try to remedy that, but right as of now, I'm not getting your text. So you might have to call 570-883-0098. Yesterday afternoon, we got our great garage gang. And, you know, we discovered a place, and I confess, full confession, the Basiliga hospitality joints, which I love, are not open for lunch. So they wanted to go for lunch. Well, we find this Amendola's Italian deli. The place is it's unbelievable. I mean, it's gorgeous. They've got the wall, the ceiling paint. It's the whole setting is perfect. It's across from Weston Field. You got to try it out. And they're only open like 11 to 2, 11 to 3. And we went there yesterday and had these sandwiches and an antipasto. It was unbelievable. It's these hidden gems that you can find. And that's what it's Amendola's. Across from you go to sort of the end of Weston Field. And, you look to your left and it'll be there. It's not huge signs or anything. But it's a classic Italian deli. It's really something. Right up there with Carmela's in West Side. But beautiful. I'm still almost flabbergasted. He said he had a veteran paint the walls. They're just gorgeously painted of these actual scenes from Italy. And now, I had to keep looking up from my food to see it. Because we had about 5 different kinds of sandwiches that were awesome. Jake is coming in to help fix this this text thing. Jake's been called upon with the bulldog out. So Jake's got to come in earlier. He's got to work harder, work longer, and now he's got to do more stuff. But anyway, we love our Jake, and he'll do the weather for us, and he'll make everything happen behind the scenes. But he's trying to get the texts up so I can communicate with you, because I love to, by the way. I love the texts. But, yeah, this Amendola's Italian Deli across from the Weston Field, and I was floored by how good it was. I truly was. But, so Rick Bigelow coming up. Jake, maybe we'll take a break, or do you tell me if you – well, he's going to try to get this done before. By the way, how about – that was the other thing in my 5 to follow. Graham Plattner. Okay, he's the communist scumbag who is running and the presumptive Democrat nominee for U.S. Senate in Maine. And now it's coming. And we knew it was coming. We knew this scumbag was going to get caught being a scumbag. I mean, let me say this. You don't wear a Nazi, and by the way, an SS tattoo for 20 years. Yeah, youthful indiscretion. These things happen. You don't wear an SS tattoo for 20 years unless you're a scumbag. So what else was going to come out about him? Well, the sexting on an underage sex site called Kick. Now a woman says he treated her pretty roughly, locked her in a room to shut her up. I mean, and there's more coming. There's more coming. The guy's a scumbag. He's lived as a scumbag. And he criticized Chris Kyle. I mean, these are American heroes. Our own Teddy Daniels from Northeast PA, recipient of 4 Purple Hearts, criticizing him, wishing him dead on the battlefield in Afghanistan. This is a sick, twisted, but you know what? It's emblematic. It's illustrative. It is the example of what the Democrat Party has become. And by the way, he hates Jews. That's another. He hates people from the country, rural people. I mean, he's a hater. He hates everything. I guess that's why he's a communist. But this is what they've descended to in the Democrat Party of today. I'm floored by it. And then you got James Tallarico, the Alfred E. Newman clown, who's the Democrat nominee for Senate in Texas. almost beyond belief. The guy who says God is non-binary. Well, let me tell you something, James Tallarico. If God the Father is non-binary, I want to tell you this. Do not bring God into your sick, twisted, transgender ideology. Don't do it. See, as I'm saying, they can't even shut up. I have no problem with him being a vegan either, but the reason he's a vegan is to save the planet. He's in on every left-wing lunacy that there is. He thinks that, abortion's not in the Bible. Well, yes, it is. Yes, it is. God knew us in the womb. Yeah. What does that mean? That means that he knows we're human beings and what we are when we're in the womb. That's simple. And it goes on and on. Then you have the sheikh who masterminded the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center. And his disciple and character witness at his trial won the Democrat nominee for U.S. Congress. And there's another sicko, anti-Jewish, anti-American, who won a nomination in New York City for U.S. Congress, Democrat nominee. It's insane. This is what they are. This is what they've become. And I'm telling you, you've got the only voice of reason in the party that is actually speaking out. I don't hear any local Democrats speaking out. Shame on them. The only one speaking out is John Fetterman. That doesn't make him anything great. That he's normal on basic issues. What do we want to do here? Seriously. Like, we want to praise somebody for being normal. I don't. It's beyond me. But we want to remind you, we are on live stream. Jake got it done. We are on live stream, and that is all brought to you by our friends at Roach Supply. Roach Supply, the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania, celebrating 75 years in business. Visit roachsupply.com today. That's ROCHE. And nonagenarian, that means he's in his 90s, nonagenarian and veteran Ron Roach still at the helm with 3 generations of the Roach family working side by side. We love them. Hey, we're going to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We will return. 1956, Murph tells us Elvis performed his hit Hound Dog on the Milton Berle Show on ABC. Elvis performed with a slow grinding, suggestive dance which shook up television viewers and critics and, of course, the ever-present censors. Oh, Lord. When things were so simple, right? We didn't have, what was the name of that clown? Dead Rabbit or what was that? Rabbit whatever. We didn't have communists singing at the Super Bowl back then. And there wasn't a Super Bowl. Maybe there shouldn't be. Somebody takes in Bob LTS, back at you. Senator John Fetterman said Plattner must step down. We must do better as a party. I can't understand why the Democrat Party would nominate such a horrible candidate and turn a blind eye to all his past inappropriate things that he said and posted. He's right on. That's why they're going to get rid of him. He occasionally tells the truth. It's insane. He occasionally tells the truth, so they've got to get rid of him. By the way, if you're looking for the live stream, I don't know if it's pink. I think it's either pink or peach shirt. If you're looking for the live version, I usually just put in the date, and obviously today is June 5th. So I punch that in, and that's how I find the live stream. And there it is. It's that easy to find. But crazy stuff. I'm excited. It's not, we didn't, unfortunately, not for D-Day, but we were able to do that. And you know what else? We're with Rick Bigelow, but you know what else we're doing? In the first hour, Jake and I love La Familia Friday, our little mafia quotes. And you heard what we started from the Bronx Tale. So we're going to be running those at the 9 and the 11 o'clock hour, and, of course, paying tribute to D-Day in the 10 o'clock hour. But, yeah, it's La Familia Friday. All kinds of great stuff. Hey, we've got to take our break again. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. I do have your texts now, and you can also call. The number's the same, 570-883-0098. We'll be back after these great messages with our Veterans Tribute. Jake will have the weather, and as we always say, more. Our veterans this hour, as with every hour, this day as with every day, brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. And since it's Friday, and La Familia Friday, we feature the Basiliga Hospitality Group. 3 amazing bar restaurants that you've got to try. And I promise you'll be pleased. The Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. The Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the great Trips Park section of West Scranton. Yeah, the same Trips Park that had 17 World War II veterans. And I got some mail to talk about one in particular. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. They're all fabulous. I'm telling you, they're great for events. They're great for meetings, meeting up. They're great for hanging out. All 3 of them, outstanding. Vincent Stuccio, DDS, Dr. Vincent Stuccio. We lost him at age 93, May 24th. He was born in Pittston, but shortly thereafter, the family moved to Plymouth. At age 9, he became interested in country western music. By age 14, he became proficient and began playing professionally with a number of local bands. He was a graduate of Plymouth High School, class of 49. He gave up his music aspirations and looked for a more stable career. He entered college in 1951 and chose dentistry as that stable career to follow. 1953, Dr. Vincent met the love of his life, Patricia Zagarsky. The couple were married in 1955, and he graduated from Temple University Dental School in 1961. On graduation day, he was sworn into the U.S. Army Dental Corps and given a direct commission as first lieutenant, assigned to Fort Dix, treating recruits who were completing basic training. He was promoted to captain and later discharged in 1963, returning to Wilkes-Barre to open his dental practice. In 1969, he was given the opportunity to join the dental staff at VA Medical, and after much consideration, he accepted the offer and started his new job as staff dentist at the VA Medical Center in Wilkes-Barre, taking care of our great veterans. In the years to follow, he was named president of the Luzerne County Dental Society, president of the Wilkes-Barre Unico. In 1977, he wasn't done serving us. He re-enlisted in the U.S. Army, active reserve, was given the rank of major. In 1981, he was promoted above that to lieutenant colonel. And in 1993, was promoted to colonel, full bird colonel, commanding the 317th Med Company in Scranton and the 1206th Dental Detachment at Picatinny Arsenal, New Jersey. In 1996, he retired from the military with 20 years of service, and shortly after that, retired from the VA Medical Center after 27 years there. Tragically, he was preceded in death by an infant daughter, Anne Marie, but he's survived by his loving wife, Patricia Zagarsky Stuccio, their sons. He's also survived by his grandchildren and other family members. Dr. Vincent Stuccio. Robert Polish. The real name, that's the Americanized name, was Policiccio. His family says Jesus summoned his most loving angels to escort his servant, Robert Policiccio, Polish Sr., home after serving his Lord and Savior for 97 years. He passed away May 19th. Dedicated to his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, his family and his country. Bob was born in Troop, gifted athlete, playing baseball in high school, an accomplished boxer, a bantamweight Golden Gloves champion. Bob graduated from the great Troop High School in 1947 and enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Corps, serving his country during the Korean War. He was very passionate about his Italian heritage and would always let folks know that his name was changed. when he met the love of his life while roller skating at the Watrous Armory in Scranton. They later married. Bob and Mrs. Joan E. Cuthbertson of Providence married and raised 4 children. Bob worked hard all of his life, starting with the American Tobacco, American Can, Atherholt Dairy in Tunkhannock, Jewel Tea, Loudon Hill Farms Dairy Stores, Turkey Hill Farm Stores, Acker Drill, and retired at the age of 79 from the Lackawanna County Long-Term Center. During and after his retirement, he still worked at Fiorelli Catering as a bartender. I knew him. He loved serving people all his life, and especially serving his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He was in love with his wonderful wife for 76 years until her passing in May of 2019. Survived by 2 children, son and a daughter, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Sadly and tragically preceded in death by 2 daughters, Denise, and one of his twins, daughter Deborah. Robert Polish Sr., Policiccio. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by our man, John Basiliga, and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. 1959, this date, Robert Zimmerman. He graduated from high school, Murph tells us, in Hibbing, Minnesota. He was known as a greaser for wearing a black leather jacket and also had the long sideburns. He was soon playing in coffee houses at the University of Minnesota and then Greenwich Village, New York. He changed his name to Bob Dylan, and the rest is history, Murph says. His first hit. Wow, that was his first hit? Like a Rolling Stone. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. And we remind you quickly, our friend Tina Morocco, the global sales advisor at Sotheby's International Realty in Naples, Florida. And she is your trusted guide to Florida real estate, specializing in Southwest Florida. You could get her through that great Sotheby's International Realty in Naples, or go straight to the source, Tina Morocco, MURACCO.com. By the way, my friend Charlie tells me that the water park is open. They had adult night Wednesday night, and those events are great. And then it opened officially yesterday. So this hot weather, you need not be hot. And even if you have a pool in the backyard, it's not quite what they have in store for you up at Montage and at the water park. Great stuff. So, in any event, somebody else on Fetterman, by the way, they said LTS. Fetterman on Fox said, I'm the lone Democrat still supporting Israel. All my colleagues abandoned the only democracy in the Middle East. How could this possibly happen? It was never like this in the past. Yes, the Democrat Party has left even a committed Marxist like John Fetterman. It's insane. That's how far gone they are. Amazing. By the way, my man Mark Mayer points out the guy making the sauce, okay, making the sauce in the movie Goodfellas from the clip Jake played was Frank Pellegrino, Rayo's owner. I met him through Bo Dietl. Up in East Harlem. Bo has a table on Thursdays, and I had the pleasure of being there once. It was fabulous. And no, Frankie Pellegrino, he tells me, correcting himself. Frank was frying the steaks. He wasn't the sauce guy. I don't think so, Mark Mayer. I don't think so. I think Frankie was making the sauce, and the guy who said one of my favorite lines, because I don't like medium rare steaks, an aristocrat. La Familia Friday with a special hour for D-Day with Rick Bigelow. We'll take a break. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. We'll be back. Roy Orbison. Murph tells us this date, 1961, had his first #1 hit. That hauntingly beautiful voice. Running Scared. Bob Cordaro back on the program. And my man Joe B. from Vandling tells me he goes to Amendola's down near Weston Field. And he concurs with me completely that it is fabulous. Now, the thing I almost forgot, here's amazing, because it's a whole family operation. The son's in medical school. He's working there. The daughter's graduated with a degree in chemistry. She's working there. The wife is Polish, as Joe reminds me, and she's working there. It's just, I'm telling you, it's a throwback, and it's absolutely beautiful. So Joe B agrees with me on the quality of all of that. And that's, by the way, and then my man Mark Mayer. Okay. He was right. The guy making the sauce in Goodfellas was a guy named Johnny Dio, and Frank Pellegrino, the former owner of Rayo's, was making the steaks. So, okay. And he said, as they say, he came with the receipts. He sent me the picture, which I shared with Jake. La Familia Friday, in any event. Somebody says Amendola is one of the first to start La Festa. And they're going to be there. They had a sign in the store saying they're going to be there. I did not know this, but it is in our history. I forgot about it, but it's the anniversary of Robert Francis Kennedy Sr.'s death, June 5th, 1968. We're going to play a history moment regarding that horrible, horrible assassination. Great stuff. By the way, Mark the Shark from Hazleton, apparently he graduated high school with Andy Mihalchik. And he said they've got their 50th reunion coming up in 2028. How about that? Our guy, Andy Mihalchik, he's a great guy. He was a great reporter over the years. And I mean, I know I had microphones shoved in my face for years. And he was always fair. He was always true. We hope that he recovers and comes back. He's just great. He's great. So thank you for that, Mark the Shark. As we head towards the top of the hour, we're going to do a special tribute to him. But Barbara Kalteski, she sent an article. You know how I always say the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton? That's because of the amount of veterans that came there. One block of one street, and we did them for 17 days. The 1700 block of Hawthorne Street in Trips Park sent 17 of their sons into the military during World War II. One of them was her uncle. And we lost him in 2012. Pete Loss. He was a Japanese prisoner. And so we're going to do a tribute to him particularly, maybe Monday, and talk about the information that Barbara sent me. It's fascinating. It's amazing. By the way, my mother is asking, and I've got to remember this. She's asking about the movie Pressure, which I'm interested in seeing. But now I heard two things about it. My mother says it was great, but somebody else said, "Oh no, they're trying to pretend like the meteorologists were like the focus of the whole thing." And we'll see. I'm going to ask Rick if he got to see it yet and what his thoughts are on it, because nobody knows D-Day that's alive better than Rick Bigelow. Quite amazing. All right. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it is time for the news because it's 10 o'clock. Now, I want to remind you, you've got Dads and grads. Dads and grads. I'm telling you, go to Picardo's for your dad or your grad. You got to do it. They got Raymond Weil, Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army, Seiko, G-Shock, Bulova, Victorinox, Tory Burch, Ball watches, the special Longines watches. You will find something special for the dad or the grad you love. I promise you. We'll be back after the news. Rick Bigelow. Great. Good morning, everyone. It's 10:08 a.m. or 10:08 a.m. on my Bacardo's Jewelers watch. This beautiful Friday, June 5, year of our Lord 2026 here in the great Northeast. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and honor with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we've lost this year, but celebrate today thanks to John. Like Robert Polish. Well, his Italian name was Policiccio. He was from Troop. Vincent Stuccio, Dr. Vincent Stuccio, Laughlin. John Brasky, Hazel Township. David Michael, Salem Township, Berwick. Robert Zablicki, Duryea, and Eugene Skordinsky, Newport Township. So with history, our amazing founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense after that brief news adjournment. Well, we said it's La Familia Friday, but it's also the day before an amazing day in our history. June 6th, 44, D-Day. And here to explain it all to us and to give us the benefit of his studies, our man, patent attorney extraordinaire, Rick Bigelow. Rick, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great, Bob. Glad to be with you.
Well, we're excited about this, and Jake already has. If you're watching on the live stream, brought to you guys by Roach Supply, premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania. 75 years in business, ROCHE, roachsupply.com. The maps are there. And Rick, just tee it off. Let's go.
Okay, so in 1944, following up on successful Allied campaigns in North Africa, Sicily, and ongoing operations in Italy, and the Soviet campaigns in Russia against the Germans, we knew that eventually we were going to have to attack and beat the Nazis in France. So Stalin had been pleading for 2 years for a second front in Western Europe to take some of the pressure off his troops, and basically in the East, in Russia, the Russians, Soviets, and the Germans were slaughtering each other. So he wanted to take some pressure off that with a second front in Western Europe. So at the 1943 conference in Tehran, FDR and Churchill promised Stalin that the second front in Europe would open in May of 1944. The Allied planners began planning seriously for it in 1943. They eventually had a staff of 1,000 planners putting together the plan for Operation Neptune, which was the D-Day landings, which was part of the overall Overlord campaign in Normandy. So they looked at 4 sites, one in Brittany, one in the Cotentin Peninsula, which is basically Cherbourg, Normandy, and the Pas de Calais, which was the closest point to Britain in France, right across the English Channel. They chose Normandy for the second front, which would be the invasion of northern France. One significant drawback, the lack of port facilities. Sooner or later, they knew they were going to have to bring in millions of tons of equipment and supplies and so on and so forth. So getting a serviceable port was of the utmost importance. So they knew they had to develop artificial harbors, known as mulberry harbors, to address this issue. They also knew they had to capture port cities of Le Havre and Cherbourg very soon after the invasion began. So Hitler knew a cross-channel invasion was going to happen sooner or later, but he didn't know where. He therefore ordered construction of the Atlantic Wall to oppose the expected Allied landings. And the Atlantic Wall went all the way from the border of France and Spain all the way up through Norway. It was like 1,000 miles And of course, the most heavily fortified was in France because that's where they figured there'd be an invasion. So the Normandy beachhead was about 50 miles wide. Utah, 3 miles. Omaha, 6 miles. Gold was 5 miles. Juneau, 6. And Sword was 5 miles. So they only were going to land at about half of the beachhead. And even in the areas where they landed, they didn't land everywhere. So it was not a complete engulfment of the whole Normandy beachhead. There were significant gaps. In fact, early on when they looked at it, they wanted to have a sixth beach, which was called Band Beach, which was going to be further to the east of Sword Beach, but they knew they just didn't have enough lift, and they didn't have enough troops and enough landing craft to do that. So they narrowed it down to 5 beaches. So they started building up U.S. forces in the UK in 1942. By June of 1944, there were about 1.5 million American troops in the UK, including ground and Air Corps troops, and of course, naval troops moved in and out. By June of 1944, 2.5 million tons of material was stockpiled in England for the invasion, including 450,000 tons of ammunition. So there were some issues with that many U.S. servicemen in the UK. U.S. soldiers were paid more than their British counterparts, which didn't sit really well with the British troops. 70,000 British women married U.S. servicemen, and 9,000 babies were born out of wedlock. The Brits referred to the Americans as overpaid, oversexed, and over here, and the Americans responded, jokingly as, you Brits are underpaid, undersexed, and under Eisenhower. So the Allies also began what was known as Operation Bodyguard in 1943 to deceive the Germans as to when and where the invasion would happen. They put together a fake army of 40 divisions led by Patton. And he was, at this point in time, he was stationed in the southeastern part of France, and that's where his fake army was. But he also moved around to the Balkans, to southern France, and to Norway just to confuse them, the Germans. The Germans had respect for Patton. They thought he would lead the invasion because he was the Americans' best general. So just by moving around a lot, they really confused the Germans as to where the invasion was going to happen.
And did we have also fake tanks, rubber tanks and material and equipment in certain parts of England as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In the southeastern part of England, we had these rubber tanks that were manufactured by Goodyear, and they looked, when the German aviators would come over and take pictures, they looked like real tanks from the air. And so, they'd move these things around, and 6 guys could lift up a rubber tank and move it. And they also had fake landing craft that were in some of the rivers. So the Germans overestimated how many American divisions were in England at this time. We had about 50, and the Germans thought that the fake First U.S. Army had another 40 divisions, and they were convinced that the invasion was going to come at Calais. In fact, Hitler would not release 3 Panzer divisions until several days after the D-Day invasion, because he was sure that the invasion was going to happen in Calais.
Which was sort of a fatal decision, right?
Among many.
Yeah, okay.
that he made, including the invasion of the Soviet Union, which was just nuts. And it's a good thing he did, because if all those troops were available in France, it would have been probably a much different story.
Mm-hmm.
So the invasion was originally scheduled for early May of 1944, and to Montgomery's credit, he said, "We don't have enough men." It was originally supposed to be about 130,000 troops. Monty said we needed more, so we grossed it up to 156,000 and got more ships and more landing craft and so on and so forth. So the invasion was postponed until June 5th of 1944. So just a quick word about amphibious seaborne invasions. They're among the most complex and risky. Caesar had invaded England twice in the first century BC with limited opposition. William the Conqueror had successfully invaded England in 1066. The Chinese under the Khans had failed twice to invade Japan from the sea. Napoleon never tried a cross-channel invasion of England. Spanish Armada could not successfully invade England, and the British had failed at Gallipoli in World War I. To add to that, there was a British-Canadian amphibious raid at Dieppe, which is sort of midway between the Pas-de-Calais and Normandy in 1942, and that was a disaster. 6,500 took part in the raid, 900 were killed, and they were all British and Canadian troops. 2,500 were wounded, and there were 2,000 POWs. And, you know, as a sidelight, because of the problems that they had getting the troops out at Dunkirk and this Dieppe raid, Churchill wasn't a big fan of the Overlord and the invasion of Normandy. He thought it was going to be much tougher than it actually was. So he had to be convinced. And it took some time to do it. And finally, towards the end, he said, "Okay, it sounds like a good thing to do."
Rick Bigelow, we've got to take a break. We'll get to the weather and the decision and why it went to June 6th and all that when we come back. And a special request. My mother wants to know, we can't do it this now, but when we come back, if you'd seen the movie Pressure and what you had thought of it historically. So we'll find out about all of that when we come back. It's Rick Bigelow. It's D-Day on the Bob Cordaro Show. We'll be right back. 1964, this date, the Rolling Stones released their hit Satisfaction in the U.S. We're on the blower with our man Rick Bigelow. D-Day is the subject. It's decision time for Eisenhower and his team. Rick, did you see the movie Pressure yet?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
All right. Well, you've got to comment on it when you have an opportunity to watch it. I'm going to go see it myself down at the Scranton Art House. But let's continue. They're in the throes of a decision. It's day by day, and the weather is a critical component.
Yeah, the weather was bad on June 5th, and the invasion, they had to make a decision to postpone the invasion until June 6th. So the German weather forecasters thought the weather would be bad for 2 weeks. So Rommel, who was the supreme commander in charge of defending France against the invasion, went back to Germany for a few days for a vacation for his wife's birthday. Other key commanders were also away from the Normandy beaches. They were having a war game in Paris. So they sent a whole bunch of the key commanders off to Paris. So they weren't there when the invasion started. American weathermen, and these are the guys who were featured in the movie, determined that there would be a 36-hour respite on June 6th and 7th that would allow the landing to proceed. It wasn't going to be perfect weather, but it wasn't going to be the stormy weather that they had on June 5th. And also, it wasn't the 2 weeks of terrible weather that the Germans thought they were going to have, so that they would have a respite. They were going to have to wait 2 weeks and maybe into early July for the invasion if they didn't go on June 6th, because they had to make sure the tides and the moon and all that stuff lined up so that they could land at low tide on the invasion day.
And it's near impossible to keep this many men, this much material on the ready for sustained periods of time.
That's exactly right. In fact, you had to start a couple days before to get all the guys. I mean, there were U.S. camps all over England. So to get them down to the harbor, get them onto the docks, count everybody, get them on the ships, get all the tanks, get all the fuel and everything you needed, and you couldn't reverse that unless you were going to delay for a month or something like that. Yeah. So it was a huge logistical problem. And, like I always say, logistics. That's the important thing. So, the key phrase in The Longest Day was Eisenhower said, "We go on June 6th. I don't like it, but that's what we got to do." So as far as pre-invasion measures, for 3 months before D-Day, Allied bombers and naval vessels systematically bombed roads, bridges, railways in France to prevent the Germans from rapidly reinforcing the beachhead. They did it all over France. They didn't do it just in Normandy, because if they did it just in the Normandy area, that would have been a sure sign to the Germans that's where we were going. So,
and we had air superiority at this time.
Absolutely. I mean, okay. It wasn't supremacy. I mean, there were still some German planes up and about, but we basically could go wherever we wanted to. And of course, the Germans still had capable anti-aircraft artillery, ACAC, down on the ground. So it wasn't like you were going to fly in with no danger. And many American Allied airplanes were shot down in this time frame. But the Germans used the railroads especially to move their troops and heavy equipment around. So the railroads were a target frequently, but they were very good at rebuilding them almost overnight. So it was a continual cat and mouse game from that. We also destroyed radar stations, radio stations. We called on the French underground to blow bridges, cut communication lines. We also dropped hundreds of these dummy parachutists around several French towns away from the Normandy beachhead in order to further deceive the Germans. Now these were parachutes in little parachutes with dummies, like 3-foot dummies, that were filled with straw, and when they came down onto the ground, they would explode. They put like firecrackers or light munitions in them, so the Germans thought we were attacking further away from the Normandy beachhead, and they put thousands of aluminum strips were deployed from aircraft to confuse the Germans as to whether a huge air or naval armada was approaching. By the time the D-Day landings, the Allies had established almost complete dominance of the air and sea. The Second Battle of the Atlantic was over, and basically our troop ships and ammunition and supply ships were getting into British ports with no problem. The Germans thought the Allies would land at high tide in the early morning with at least half a moon for illumination. These characteristics were not available in early June, so this was another reason that the Germans thought the invasion would come later. The Allies wanted to land at low tide so that the landing craft could disembark the troops and back off the beach and go get some more troops. The significant beach obstacles, mines, and these hectagonal beach obstacles were a real issue for the Allies, because if we went in at high tide, a lot of the landing craft would have got hung up on these obstacles and blown up, and they would not have been available. They were counting on the landing craft to make several trips, not only on D-Day but on subsequent days. The critical shortage for the Neptune phase, getting the troops ashore, it wasn't tanks, men, planes, weapons, jeeps, trucks. It was landing craft. That was the critical shortage. In fact, at the same time that there was to be an invasion in Normandy, it was originally planned that there was going to be another invasion in southern France, which was called Operation Dragoon. But because we needed all the men and all the equipment and the landing craft, most importantly, that had to be postponed, and that didn't happen until August.
Fascinating.
So here's the order of battle.
Rick, we're going to take a break. Order of battle next. It's the D-Day discussion with our man Rick Bigelow the day before the anniversary. We'll take this break. We've got our Veterans Tribute, our great sponsors. The weather, Jake will have that. And then Rick Bigelow on the other side. We'll be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour, as with every hour, this day as with every day, brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. And as we head into this weekend, I can't believe it's here already, we start thinking about all the great properties that Basiliga Hospitality has in store for us. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township, the Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton, the Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. All awesome, all great. Fine dining, the best anywhere. The Stegmeyer Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre. An old world feel, an old world flavor on an amazing dining experience. It's also a great event space. Atera 519, more of the same. On a modern take, right in downtown Scranton. And nightlife, yeah, we got it. Sergei's Live, the nightclub, right underneath Atera. And it's all happening there all weekend. Eugene Skordinsky. He was 84 when we lost him May 25th. He was from Newport Township. He was surrounded by his wife and children at home after a battle with Lewy body and vascular dementia. Gene was born in Glen Lyon, played high school football. He was a newspaper delivery boy, which would eventually become the essence of his working life. After graduating from Newport High School, he went on to attend a typographical school in New York City and started his career as a printer at Llewellyn and McCain in Wilkes-Barre. Gene met the love of his life, Marianne Modla, at Dr. Stopinski's office in Glen Lyon. They were married at St. Nicholas Church in Glen Lyon. They celebrated 62 years of marriage this spring before his passing. He served as an artilleryman in the Pennsylvania Army National Guard, 28th Division, the storied 109th Field Artillery Regiment Battery B from 1963 to 1969. Over the expanse of his 42-year career in the newspaper business, he saw business change from mechanical age of hot linotype to the high-tech electronic age. He went to work for the Sunday Independent in 1972. Then he was hired by the Wilkes-Barre Publishing Company. A labor dispute with the publishing company in 1978 led him to become one of the founding members of the Citizen's Voice. It was a great newspaper at that time. He served alongside many others on the front lines and picket lines of what has been referenced as the newspaper wars in Northeast Pennsylvania. Gene transitioned from printing department to the newsroom in 1982. He did the newsroom photography, circulation, advertising. Member of the International Typographical Union, Communication Workers of America. His daily ritual from ages 28 to 70 consisted of an exercise routine, thousands of miles of jogging. He never wanted to eat out because nothing compared to his wife's home cooking and baked goods. He's survived by his wife, Marianne, his daughter, his grandchildren, his son, and his children. Gene was a man who frequently stated his belief in the importance of strong faith, a close and caring family, and a free country. He was a devoted husband, loving father, and grandfather. Eugene Skordinsky. Robert Zablicki. He was from Duryea, lifelong resident there. Born in Taylor. Member of the first graduating class of Pittston Area High School. Class of 1967. He went on to East Stroudsburg University and the University of Scranton. He proudly served in the United States Army Reserves, 365 engineers. Prior to retirement, he was employed by the Pittston Area School District for 37 years, where he affected the lives of children that he taught. And our man Andy from Daleville, he texted in that Mr. Zablicki was a great teacher. He said he wanted to note that this longtime Duryea resident, longtime faithful parishioner of Nativity of our Lord in Duryea, was a kind and loving man. He was my English teacher at Pittston Area, and even in my adult life as an attorney, he would always answer a grammar question for me without hesitation. He loved Lionel trains, and I'm confident he's in heaven. Thank you, Andy from Daleville. And his obit does say, devoted Christian and member of the Nativity of our Lord in Duryea. Duryea councilman. Most loving man a wife could ever hope for, says his bride. Surviving is his wife of 18 years, the former Pamela Lewandowski. Children, grandchildren, sister, brother, and other family members. Teacher, Robert Zablicki. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you, as always, by our man John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Murph says this date, 1971. James Taylor released that great hit, You've Got a Friend. Bob Cordaro back on the program. We're in the midst of a discussion of D-Day, 82 years ago tomorrow. And Rick Bigelow is our guest and our professor. Rick, let's go right to the invasion, my man.
Okay. The first part of the invasion was the airborne drops. So the 82nd and 101st Airborne dropped to the west of the Normandy beachhead, and their job was to secure bridges and make sure roads were secure and so on and so forth. And the British 6th Airborne Division dropped to the east of the Normandy beachhead, and their job was to do the same thing. These drops didn't go well. Most of them landed miles away from where they were supposed to land on both the American and the British, but they were able to get together, and basically by 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, they had taken many of their objectives. Especially the American airborne suffered among the highest casualty rates of all the units that landed on D-Day. So I'm going to focus on the American beaches, Utah Beach and Omaha Beach. The planners thought Utah Beach would be the most heavily defended, and that Omaha Beach would only be lightly defended. That's not how it happened. Utah Beach, in fact, turned out to be fairly easy. And when I say fairly easy, we still had several hundred casualties that came ashore on Utah Beach. Omaha Beach was the tough nut. And the 1st and the 29th Divisions came on shore. The opposition was very heavy, and what we didn't know is that just a few days before, Hitler had sent a very experienced division to the Omaha beachhead,
Mm.
and they put up a tremendous opposition. The one of the other things was Ponta Hawk, where the Rangers scaled the cliffs, 200-foot cliffs, and got up to where they thought there were going to be large German guns that could cover most of the beachhead. They got up there with a tremendous effort, and they discovered that the guns were gone. And to their credit, they went looking for them, and they found them a couple miles inland and destroyed them. So that was quite the effort.
Amazing.
on their part.
And
Omaha,
Rick Bigelow, it doesn't it one of the things that comes down to it and why the Americans have been such amazing fighters over the decades, over the century, I guess, was the ability to adapt and improvise.
That's right. European armies were top down. You didn't go anything and do anything unless you were instructed to do so by senior officers. But the Americans had a can-do attitude, and if the captain got wounded, lieutenant took over. If lieutenant got wounded, the sergeant took over.
Yeah.
So they were able to adapt and able to go ahead and get all the objectives that they had planned to take. One of the questions you get was, when did the naval bombardment start? And they only started at about 3 hours before the invasion. And they did that because they knew that if they had bombarded the beaches for days or hours before the invasion, the Germans would have known what was coming and they would have been able to reinforce it. So they wanted to do it quickly. The things got so bad on Omaha Beach that the Navy beachmaster, who's in charge of directing where everybody went, called back to the command ship and said, hold off on sending more landing craft right now because everybody's stuck on the beach. And eventually, with some amazing effort by many of the troops, they were able to knock out the German machine gun facilities and their bunkers and so on and so forth. And they actually made it. Reportedly, Bradley, who was in charge of all the U.S. ground forces, thought about canceling the Omaha Beach invasion at one point in time, but fortunately they were able to meet all their objectives. But still, in all the beaches that were assaulted, they didn't meet their first day objectives. The British had kind of an easier time. The only tough beach was where the Canadians landed on Juno Beach, but sooner or later, all the beaches were cleared, and they got off the beach.
Amazing. This is just savage. Hey, we've got to take a break. I want to. We'll summarize D-Day when we come back. Let's hear from our sponsors. We'll come back. Rick Bigelow, D-Day. Murph tells us, 1972, this date, Maureen McGovern, not the actress, the singer. She quit her job as a secretary to become a singer. And amazing, her first single was The Morning After from the movie Poseidon Adventure. Man, I don't know how that fits in with the Poseidon Adventure, but anyway, that's the deal. Rick Bigelow is going to bring up the summary of what all this D-Day was about. And, man, watching The Longest Day or Private Ryan really, I think, captures it. I'm looking forward to seeing the new movie Pressure.
Yeah, okay, so let me summarize briefly. So the landings had been successfully executed. All the beaches were in Allied hands. Most of the units had moved miles inland and were digging in and waiting for the expected German counterattack. So 156,000 Allied troops had landed by the end of the day. The cost had been high. The Allies suffered over 10,000 casualties and at least 4,400 killed in action. And like I said before, the 82nd and 101st suffered the highest percentage of casualties and KIAs. The Germans still thought the Normandy landings were a diversion, and the real assault would come at the Pas de Calais, far to the east of the Normandy beaches. Despite the success of D-Days, the Allies were in for a tough time. Within a few days, Hitler released all the panzers to Normandy, and that was 3 panzer divisions. So the battle for Normandy would rage for almost 3 more months before the Allies declared victory. The total KIA in the 3-month Normandy campaign was about 40,000, including 21,000 Americans, and that was about 11% of those happened on D-Day. So, if I could, I just want to talk a little bit about the Nyland brothers. Tech Sergeant Edward Nyland, Army Air Force, was in a plane that was shot down in Burma in May 1944, presumed dead. Tech Sergeant Robert Nyland jumped in with the 82nd, killed in action on June 6, 1944. Second Lieutenant Preston Nyland landed at Utah Beach with the 4th Infantry Division. He was killed on June 7th. Their mother was due to get all 3 telegrams of their deaths on the same day. Sergeant Fred Nyland jumped in with the 101st on D-Day. After 9 days, he went to see his brother, Preston, and was told he was dead. Since all 3 of his brothers were confirmed or presumed dead, he was sent back to England and eventually back to the States. Saving Private Ryan is based loosely on the Nyland brothers. Robert and Preston are buried next to each other in the American cemetery near Colville-sur-Mer, Normandy. Miraculously, Edward Nyland suffered the air crash, wandered in the jungle for several days in Burma, eventually captured and imprisoned by the Japanese, and liberated by British troops in May 1945.
And the reason that's important is not the movie, Rick Bigelow. It's that there was tragedy on the home front when these things happened. There was death, there was dismemberment, there was mayhem, families destroyed. Unbelievable. What bravery, what courage. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Well, I thank you. It's always great, Rick Bigelow, to get down with you on these amazing battles, these important confrontations. Big stuff. And we cannot thank you enough for coming with us on the day before the D-Day anniversary. Thank you, Rick.
Glad to do it, Bob.
Patent attorney extraordinaire, Rick Bigelow. He is our historian. We love him. Time for the news, because my Picardo watch tells me it's 11:01 and change. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. You know it does. Great good morning, everyone. 11:10 a.m. on my Cordaro Jewelers watch. This beautiful Friday, June 5, year of our Lord 2026 here in the great Northeast, the day before the D-Day anniversary. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and honor, with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga hospitality group, the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we salute today, having lost them this year, like Robert Zablicki, Duryea, Eugene Skordinsky, Newport Township, Robert Polish, his Italian name was Policiccio, and Dr. Vincent Stuccio of Laughlin, along with John Brasky, Hazel Township, and David Michael, Salem Township. So with history, our amazing founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order after this brief news adjournment, today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our deep and unalterable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all who hearken here. A final note, and we mentioned them last year. This is the carnage of the whole D-Day, World War II. You know, it's now sanitized in most people's minds. But there was true human suffering and tragedy, and the telegrams. He mentioned the Nyland brothers, Rick Bigelow did. Well, there were local people, 18 that we know of, who lost their lives on D-Day. I'm going to read off their names. PFC John Dolinsky. He was 20. He was from Oliphant. Captain Joseph Rafferty. He was from Scranton. Private Joseph Getzer. He was from Scranton, 29 years old. Private Leo Richalski, 25. He was from Old Forge. Private Billy Davis, 26. He was from Wilkes-Barre. Corporal John Fetish, he was 21. He was from East Stanton Street, Hudson. PFC John France, he was from Hilldale, 24. Private Adam Tomko, 35, from West Wyoming. Private William Mensch from Almedia, he was 24. Private Elmer Warman, 21, Wilkes-Barre. Sergeant Joseph Buczynski, 30, he was from Pittston. PFC Donald McGrath, 22, he was from Carbondale. Private Charles Pittich, he was from Dunmore. Sergeant William Hoover, Wilkes-Barre. PFC R. Willis Farver, 31, he was from Berwick. PFC Louis Saray, 20, he was from Berwick. Corporal James Dalto, he was from Berwick. Sergeant Hertz Whitebread, 27, from Chickashinny. Quite amazing. Rick discovered these D-Day deaths while searching the archives of Northeast Pennsylvania newspapers, archived on newspapers.com. There was tragedy. There were telegrams going to Northeast Pennsylvania families for 18 of our great generation. And I just wanted to make that as a postscript. Well, going to a completely different subject, we've got some hockey fun going on. And our man EJ is here to talk about what is happening in this. This is the finals, right?
This is them. No, they punched their ticket to the finals. This is the Eastern Conference.
Okay, this is Eastern Conference Finals. Okay.
The winner of this will go and play either Chicago or Colorado in the final.
How appropriate. You've got your Wilkes-Barre Penguins shirt on.
I'm ready to go.
All right. Tell us, it's 2-2.
Right now.
You had some skepticism at the beginning of the series about could we beat these guys, Toronto?
Yes.
But we've turned it around.
They have. So at the beginning of the series, I was a little skeptical because we had only seen them twice and we split. We beat them on the road, but they beat us at our place, which is actually kind of funny because they beat us twice at our place so far in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We beat them twice up there. It was just unfamiliar to me, and I just was like, well, I'd rather see Cleveland. I know that we can beat Cleveland, but Toronto has proven to be a pretty good series, and the Penguins just flipped. Must have flipped the switch when they went up there and they're fantastic on the road, Bob. One of the best teams in the league on the road.
Why? Well, there never is a why for that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I've seen some pretty exceptional hockey the last 2 games, and hopefully that it sticks. Because with the win on Wednesday, they've now got a home game on Sunday, which is huge because they're going to have not only Game 6, but if Toronto wins tonight, it would be a Game 7 on Tuesday. Both of those games are in Wilkes-Barre. I think that's big to get back home.
And everybody gets to see playoff hockey here again. That's fantastic.
Yes, and we haven't been this far in quite some time. And if they punch your ticket to the finals, it'll be the first time since 2008.
So Sunday, at what time are they playing?
It would be 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock Sunday night.
5:35 pregame would start here on WILK.
And you could go live 6 o'clock.
Yep.
The game will happen. Tickets still available, I'm guessing.
Still available. And then if, by chance, we needed that winner-take-all Game 7, it would be Tuesday, it would be Tuesday at 7:05.
Neat.
So 6:35 would be the pregame. The broadcast would start here at 6:30.
So 6 o'clock Sunday to take the lead. One or the other is going to take the lead.
Yeah, well, that could be tonight. If the Penguins win, they could win.
Oh, we're playing tonight.
They are playing tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So if they win tonight, right? The Penguins win tonight.
This is Toronto.
If they beat Toronto tonight, they play Toronto on Sunday night to win the whole thing.
At home.
At home on Sunday night. Now, if they lose and Toronto wins, we got to win 2 straight. But the good news is we're home on Sunday and we're home on Tuesday.
Fun.
This is going to be wild. It's going to be down to the wire.
It's a lot of fun. I'm telling you guys, you're missing out if you're not part of our local hockey. I say the same thing about the baseball. It's great sports. EJ, thank you very much. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. All right. Our man EJ on the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Pens. We're looking forward to it. Sunday, Tuesday, but they're playing tonight. You can hear it on the radio. We'll be back. Murph tells us this date, 1984, Van Halen released their hit Panama. Bob Cordaro back with you, and of course, RFK and that tragic assassination. Brother Mike tells me it's his first political memory. You know, it was mine too. I remember it so distinctly. Amazing. And we were at St. Anthony's grade school. They had us praying all the next day for RFK, but he succumbed to his grievous injuries that morning. My gosh, amazing. Hey, let's go to Bill from Pittston on Graham Plattner, that scumbag. Hi,
That's
Bill.
putting it mildly.
Yes, it is.
You know, I watched Rubio turn into the ringmaster at the circus, the Democrats. That guy is so good. And they come out, you know their game plan. No matter who they're testifying against, whatever department it's the worst, most controversial, most corrupt. You know, and they just talk over everybody. And they had that one chick, she was like in her 20s asking about Marco's shoes. And he turned them into rambling idiots.
Yep.
But it gets so frustrating. Their game plan is very apparent. And you got Schumer going, are you supporting Plattner? We're gonna beat what's her name out there in Maine, and we're gonna get the majority. But he won't say supporting Plattner. And it's just, you feel powerless.
The leadership of the Democrat Party is disgusting. There's really no other way to term it. And the inevitable result of their mental illness is someone like Graham Plattner being the Democrat nominee for U.S. Senate. That was inevitable. Some scumbag like this would emerge.
It's apparent that the Democratic Party does not look in the best interest of this country. I think what Trump is doing is showing he's putting the country first rather than trying to win the midterm elections. I still think he will. But the Democrats don't give a hoot and holler, and that's what that Cognutti's like that wants to get Rob Bresnahan's office. I mean, she's just like this carbon copy, no guts, no heart, no brains Democrat Party.
Sad stuff. You know it, Bill. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you. A couple of texts. Hey, Bob, free flags for veterans today, 5 p.m. at Midway Beverage in the shopping center on Wyoming Avenue in Wyoming. That is really neat. That's great. I love it. And by the way, speaking of that, let me find this because I want to give the details. But all weekend and already starting today, there is a traveling display, the moving wall. And I'm going to tell you what, it's going to be at the Bloomberg Fairgrounds. And all weekend. It arrived yesterday. And I'm telling you, you got to get there today or tomorrow. You have to. If you're anywhere near that area, if you have an opportunity. Because it's not a moving wall just because it's moving around the country, dedicated to our Vietnam veterans and their losses in that tragic war. It is moving. It will move you. That I can assure you of. Please go see it, and thank you to all the veterans organizations and groups that helped put that together. And it couldn't be at a better place than the Bloomberg Fairgrounds. Great stuff. Don't forget about that over the weekend. And, you know, when I'm going to take a minute tomorrow, and I urge all of you, take a moment tomorrow, maybe watch the beginning of Saving Private Ryan, maybe watch The Longest Day, watch some of it or all of it, and just try to absorb what these amazing people did. As someone texted in, the greatest generation ever. Quite amazing. Astonishing. By the way, a couple other texts. Body Shop guy says, Bob, having a hard time wrapping my head around why everyone is up in arms about the cost of the Iran war, but they just voted to send a ton of money to Ukraine. I know. It's selective outrage. It's faux outrage. F-A-U-X. Awful. Somebody texts in, Bob LTS, love the D-Day remembrance. on a completely different note. Where is the outrage? The Dixon City Police are separating families. Right in the Scranton Times. I read the story. An intoxicated woman got into an accident on Route 6 with children in the car. And guess what? The police removed the children from custody of their mother. Oh, the humanity. Where is the outrage from the left? It's all phony. It's all completely phony. Somebody texted in referencing the RFK history moment. I like the movie Hoffa with Jack Nicholson, of course, but I didn't like the way Bobby Kennedy was portrayed. That's the kind of guy I would never like, probably kick the snot out of him. That was Bobby Kennedy. He was a bastard. There was greatness in him, obviously. There was the ability to inspire, obviously. But he was a bastard. They always said Bobby Kennedy didn't have his own Bobby Kennedy like his brother Jack did. He needed the devil to do really tough things and bad things. Yeah, no, but that's a from every history I've read, that is a very clear depiction of Bobby Kennedy. He was often not a nice guy. By the way, I hope you enjoyed the maps that Rick Bigelow supplied us during that feature. I hope you enjoyed seeing them on the live stream brought to you by Roach Supply. Roach Supply, the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania, celebrating 75 years in business, and you know what that means. This goes for our friends, the Bacardos. This goes for Reeves Awning. Like, these are family businesses that are just awesome at what they do. Bath and kitchen. That's Roach Supply, R-O-C-H-E. You go to roachsupply.com. You could also stop in. They're up in Honesdale. You could also stop in at the Chapman Supply in Clark Summit. All great. Outstanding. We're going to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll come back with the Veterans Tribute, the weather, and then we've got more for you. Our Veterans Tribute this hour, as with every hour, this day, as with every day, dutifully, proudly, patriotically provided by our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. They're the places to go for this weekend. They really are. Doesn't matter what you want. Doesn't matter what cocktails you enjoy. It doesn't matter what food you enjoy. They get it done. The bar restaurants are Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. The Old Brook Inn, 307, Springbrook Township. The Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the great Trips Park section of West Scranton. The fine dining establishments are awesome and gorgeous. The Stegmeyer Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre, South Franklin Street. I think I'm popping in there today. A Terra 519, downtown Scranton. Awesome. Just top shelf. Nightlife, Sergey's, the nightclub. It is really a fun place to be, even for fogies like me, certainly in the earlier hours. And Terra's open for all of us after 10 o'clock at the bar for food, you name it. Great weekend. I can't wait to get there. David Michael, sadly, he died at age 51. Army veteran. He got a nursing degree from Bloomsburg University. He was from Berwick, Salem Township. We lost him May 21st. Born in Sellersville, he moved to Berwick, went to Berwick Area School District, later completed high school in Lansdale, graduating from North Penn High School. He proudly served all of us in the United States Army for 4 years, including time stationed in Hawaii. After the military, he pursued a career in nursing, earning his Bachelor of Science in Nursing from Bloomsburg and completing a master's degree in nurse anesthesiology from the University of North Carolina. He spent his professional career working in North Carolina. He'll be deeply missed by his loving family, his mother, his two sisters, his brother, nieces, nephews, many other family members. David will be remembered for his laughter, his love of wrestling and surfing, and the happiness he found spending time near the ocean. David Michael. John Brasky, he was 90. He passed on May 22nd. He was from Hazel Township. Born in Hazel Township, member of the Transfiguration Church, Holy Name of Jesus in West Hazelton. 1953 graduate of Hazel Township High School, a very proud patriot, member of the United States Navy, serving honorably aboard the USS Murray. He later attended McCann School of Business and worked as a scheduler at Dorr Oliver Corp. Until his retirement in 1999. He'll be remembered for his immense love of family. He had a witty sense of humor, a great love for golf. Looked forward to his daily morning coffee with his buddies at Laurel Mall. Surviving, his wife of 64 years, Anne-Marie Fazio Brasky, his daughter, his granddaughter, grandson, a great-granddaughter, sisters, and other family members, John Brasky, our great veterans this hour. Brought to you by our man, John Basiliga, and Basiliga Hospitality. I'm telling you, despite our beautiful weather, I needed this. I needed the theme song, and I needed to get uplifted. I'm thinking about D-Day. Oh, heavy, heavy subjects. But Tina Morocco, Global Sales Advisor at Sotheby's International, Naples, Florida. She is your trusted guide, and that trust is everything with all the options available and with the size of the investment you have to make. She's your trusted guide for Florida real estate, specializing in Southwest Florida. You could reach her at Sotheby's International Realty in Naples or TinaMorocco.com, MURACCO, or Tina Morocco on any social media. Here she is. Hi, Tina.
Hey, Bob. How are you?
I feel heavy. We did the D-Day invasion. You think of all of that, and it's like I said, I need my sunshine from Tina today.
Well, I'm here to bring it today.
Please do. What do you got?
So it's been a while since we talked about Estero, Florida.
Yes.
And Estero is in between Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. It's kind of shaped like a rectangle on its side. But Estero is going through tremendous growth right now. And if you think about Estero, people familiar with Southwest Florida, they might think of like the Coconut Point Mall or the Miramar Outlets or the Hertz Arena, that type of thing. That's kind of like central Estero. But on both sides of Estero, there's tremendous growth. Like I said, on the east side, out on the other side of the water, there is like residential, like booming there. So much so, the population of Estero in 2020 was about 37,000 people. That's expected to double in the next 10 years. So tons of communities going out there like Pulte, Lennar, GL Homes. They're just, gated communities mostly, residential, but there's also a lot of commercial going with shopping and restaurants and things like that going out there. So you can already see it. There's a lot of new construction opportunities out there right now too, a lot of good deals. But on the east side, if you're at the waterfront, there are so many new high-rise towers that are overlooking the water going up, which is kind of transforming the landscape over there. And these are luxury like Estero has never seen before. So the Ritz-Carlton residences are going there. One of the towers has already opened. It's 22 stories. There's going to be a golf course there. There's a marina overlooking the Estero Bay. It's absolutely stunning. There's a couple towers going on in existing developments. West Bay Club is one of them. That's a beautiful country club golf community. That tower, I think, is 22 floors. Again, just extraordinary amenities and beautiful, beautiful views of the bay. And then there's another one, the Infinity at the Colony, that's going up. That one is also at an existing neighborhood, Pelican Landing. So there's so much going in Estero. I don't think we talk about Estero a lot, but I mean, compared to Naples and Fort Myers, Estero is half the size, and the growth that it's going to see in the next couple of years is tremendous. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Lots to do in Greece and Estero.
We've got to remember that name, Estero. And I remember from the first time we talked of it, and things are still going swimmingly in Estero. And it remains a great possibility for Northeast Pennsylvanians. Great stuff.
And I would say, despite all of this growth, there's still a ton of preserve and state parks there. So it's not like it's going to be overrun like a big city at any point. They're doing a great job with preserving a lot of land there. And I mean, the famous part of Estero is the bay. So, there's no beach in Estero. So it's more like kayaking and boating and things like that. So if you live in Estero, you're typically going to either Bonita Beach or Fort Myers Beach. But lots to do there.
Great stuff. Well, Tina, thank you so much. I'm enlightened.
Enlightened.
I'm enlightened and lightened the burdens off my shoulders. I appreciate it always, Tina Morocco. Thank you. She is Tina Morocco. She is your trusted guide for Florida real estate, specializing in Southwest Florida. You can reach her through Sotheby's International Realty in Naples, Florida, or directly, Tina Morocco, MURACCO.com, or on any social media, Tina Morocco. Thanks again, my dear.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Biden banner disgrace, day 173. The Green Ridge Neighborhood Association has disgracefully put up a banner for Joe Biden as a hometown hero. He didn't serve. He dodged service. It's stolen valor, straight out. Biden banner disgrace. Stolen valor, day 173. Take it down, Green Ridge Neighborhood Association. This date, 2002, Murph tells us David Bowie, he performed his final North American tour finishing it at PNC Bank Arts Center, New Jersey. Closing out the show with Ziggy Stardust. And Jake found it. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. We're going to finish today with, well, where is it? I'm looking. Oh, Peter Gabriel, because in 1986 he had the #1 hit, Sledgehammer. That's a good song. So we're going to wrap with that. Just a couple of things to do. I want you to just try to remember that it is, in fact, D-Day anniversary tomorrow. Okay? It's important that we remember it. It's important that we don't forget it. And then I mean thinking of it in the grittiest, toughest terms possible, because it was hell. It was hell for the people who preserved this country. And by the way, it's never been easy to do the right thing against evil. We're seeing this with Trump taking out the newest and equally dangerous Nazis in Iran. So remember that. By the way, thanks to, as the week ends, to Roach Supply, the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania, 75 years in business. Visit Roach Supply, ROCHE.com today. And thank you, as always, to Tina Morocco, your trusted guide to Florida real estate, MURACCO, TinaMorocco.com. So as we conclude, there's a couple of things we do on Friday, and we've got to do, and I apologize, I can't get to the phone calls that are here because of the press of time. But the policeman's prayer, and let's think about the thin blue line that separates us from savagery, from evil, and from calamity, our cops. And this was provided me years ago by my man Nicky DeSando, a cop's cop. Policeman's prayer, Lord, bless the ones who wear the badge, the ones who walk the beat. Protect and keep them safe while they are on the street. As they wait and as they watch, doing good for all, guide their minds and give them strength for each and every call. Ready to put their lives on the line, give them courage each day. Let them know you're always there in each and every way. So bless the ones who wear the badge. Protect them from harm. Always keep them safe and in your loving arms. And then, of course, we love to conclude the week with a poem that was found in the obituary of the beloved Doreen Gorieb, Tomorrow Never Comes, by Norma Cornett Merrick. And it's a reminder we're only here for a short time. Family, friends, reach out. Don't hesitate. Don't wait, because tomorrow may never come. If I knew it would be the last time I'd see you walk out the door, I would give you a hug and kiss and call you back for just one more. If I knew it would be the last time, I would spare an extra minute or two to stop and say I love you instead of assuming you know I do. So just in case tomorrow never comes and today is all I get, I'd like to say how much I love you and hope we will never forget. Tomorrow is not promised to anyone, young or old alike. And today may be the last chance you get to hold your loved one tight. So if you're waiting for tomorrow, why not do it today? For if tomorrow never comes, you'll surely regret the day that you didn't take that extra time for a smile, a hug, a text, a call, or a kiss, and you were too busy to grant someone what turned out to be their final wish. So hold your loved ones close today and whisper in their ear that you love them very much and you'll always hold them dear. Take time to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, or it's okay. And if tomorrow never comes, you'll have no regrets about today. Guys, we had a great week. Always love hanging around with you. You know that. God willing, I'll be with you Monday. We'll be following the hockey. And, of course, D-Day observance tomorrow. Gorgeous weather weekend. Nice and hot. At least that's the way I like it anyway. I hope you get to enjoy the weekend, even if you're working. I know I'm going to try like hell. Starting as soon as it's noon, I'll try like hell to have a good weekend. Celebrating my youngest son's birthday with all of my sons today. How great is that? All four of us, them and myself, will be together. Guys, have a great weekend. But Sue Henry show's next. The Rob O'Donnell show after that. I've got to say adios because my great Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's time to go. It's noon. Have a great weekend. God willing, I'll be with you Monday morning. But for now, Club for Common Sense adjourned.